Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro. In today's video I'm gonna build something for the Commodore 64. It's this little device. It's called the WiC-64 and no, it's not the WiC in like WiC-20 or the WiC chip. It is WiC-64. The WiC-64 or the wireless interface for Commodore 64 is a parallel VLAN interface made in Germany. I'm not really sure who's behind it, but everything is open sourced and this is supposedly 20 times faster than other so-called wireless modems that you can get for the Commodore 64. The module uses an ESP8266 microcontroller. That's a pretty quick RISC-based microcontroller with a Wi-Fi modem on it. And by using 8 parallel data lines, it can load data from the internet to the Commodore 64 much faster than other solutions. And they have also built some software tools for the Commodore 64, including a Portal launcher program that you run on the C64, and that gets you access to some features like downloading games and demos directly over the internet. You can find this device here on the Restore Store website, and I just want to mention that I have not been sponsored by them. I bought this myself. So this is going to be an easy build because this WiC-64 module just consists of these 3 parts. It's an ESP32 with Wi-Fi module, the PCB for the actual WiC-64, and a little OLED screen that goes on top here. So the only thing I actually need to solder is the edge connector for the module. So if we take a look at the PCB, you can see here the address for the project, wic64.com, and yeah, it's Moss inside and Lazy Jones and Kiwi figures on it. Okay, before I start soldering this, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about this thing. So if you go to wic64.de, you find the homepage of the project, and here's the web page, and there's not a lot of information here. You can download the Portal launcher by clicking here. You can contact the developer, or there's a link for ordering your own. The most interesting part is of course this, the programs and documents. And here are the documentation and the tools you need. Most of the documents are in German, so that can be a little bit hard. You can either use Google Translate or try and find some English documentation, which I actually found. I found this English translation of this document, the user's manual, and I found it on Forum 64, and to download it from there you need to have an account. But this goes through all the details of the project, the history, schematics, how to assemble it, and how to configure. So this is something you need if you're going to use this device and you don't understand German. Back to the downloads area of wic64.de, you find not only the documentation and the C64 programs you need, you also find the source code for the ESP controller firmware. There's also an ESP eraser, ESP flasher, and yeah, also a 3D model. Here is the 3D case that you can print out. So yeah, here's everything you need, schematics. Here is a presentation of what this is in German and what you can do with it with yeah, just these slides. I'm gonna assemble the thing now, and yeah, the pins for the edge connector are way wider than the actual PCB, so I was sitting here thinking, how do I bend all these at the same time and make them equally straight? So I figured I'm gonna use this small vise. So try not to break it. Yeah, I think that went alright. Somewhat evenly bent. Yeah, I think that's pretty straight, so I'm gonna solder 2 of the pins first. Then I straighten it. I think it's pretty straight already, and solder on the other side. So that was it. That went smooth, and just insert ESP32 module, and it says antenna on this side, and that's the antenna. And then the little OLED screen. I'm pretty sure it goes this way. So I bought this already pre-programmed, so there's no need for me to program it, so I don't have to waste time on that. Alright, let's test it. So I need to find a case for this. If there's a 3D model, I'm gonna try and print one. Yeah, I'm gonna insert it in this Commodore C64C. It's always a little bit tight first time. So let's see now if it powers on. There's a few LEDs, one green, one yellow, one red. So I'm turning on the machine. And there is a red light. And now it boots. Alright, it came up. SSID not connected. So now you can see it's flashing a little bit, but yeah, it says SSID and not connected, and WiC64 copyright 2021. Before I test this out, let's go over the function keys. The first one here is to disable or enable the activity LED, this green one. This one over here, you can't see it, it's to reset the Commodore 64 itself. Then the ESP32 has 2 small buttons. One is for resetting the ESP32, and the other one is for disabling it completely. Alright, so just inserting the module doesn't do anything to the machine. It needs to be configured to get the correct VLAN you want to use and an IP address. And for that you actually need to use a launcher program on the Commodore 64. So I downloaded the WiC64 launcher and copied it to a small SD memory card, which I'm gonna use on the Pi 1541. If you don't have a device like that, you actually need to copy it to a real floppy disk. The launcher program and some other programs you can find on the WiC64 web page. There's a bunch of downloads there. I'm gonna go through some of the other things in a while. Alright, so there's the WiC64 launch PRG file. I should have obviously renamed the file to remove the file type, but let's see if we can load it anyway. WiC. Run. Okay, so now we're in and it's searching for Wi-Fi networks, and it found My network here seems to have detected both the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. I have this one ending with 87. So let me type the password. If it's becoming correct now on the C64 keyboard. So it seems to be thinking a little bit here. So the OLED screen says VLAN lost. I'm not sure what happened here. I think it actually crashed. I'm gonna try and turn it off and retry. So the green and the blue LED are blinking now. Some activity. But then it just say VLAN lost. I tried again and now it came up again with different networks here. So let me try once more. I'm not really sure how the uppercase characters I have in my password is supposed to be written, or if everything is lowercase and shift or vice versa. It blinks and says boot. Alright, so there's actually another program you can use to configure the wireless network, and it's called VLAN config. Let's try that. And here you can type your SSID. Let's try that. And the password should now be displayed on the screen. No, I'm not gonna show you the password. So it says VLAN reconnect. And he got the IP address. So now if we load the WiC, what happens then? And we're in. Yeah, and this is actually a portal where you can do several things. You can download firmware update, Wi-Fi setup, but you need to register and then log in. So now this Commodore 64 is online on the internet. So let's see if there's any firmware update. So there is a firmware from the 1st of January and there is a developer firmware available. I'm not gonna try that. So I'm running the normal firmware update. So it's running the update and tells me to wait 30 seconds after the ESP32 reboots and then press 0 to restart. And it restarted. So now I'm just gonna wait a little bit. 0. Okay, so that was it. Let's exit. 0 for exit, but that does not work. So I guess I have to boot the machine again. Not really sure if this is some unstable software or if it is my machine, but seems to be not quite there yet. It is version 0.6 of this firmware, so yeah. So now let's check out how to register here. So I'm gonna create a username. Let's say Arctic Retro, simple as that. And a password. Confirm. So I was registered successfully. Press any key. Okay, so here you got online games, chat area, file area, internet. Let's try internet. So there's RSS, telnet. Let's try an RSS feed. Forum 64 RSS feed. Okay, it's in German and I am not very good in German. I had German at school back in the day, but that's a long time ago. But it seems to just load and scroll by posts in this RSS feed. And then it just quit the program. Okay, so I think we will have to reset and reload again. Okay, so run stop restore seems to go back to the main menu. So let's check out file area, demos. Okay, so now we should be able to load some demo from the internet. All right. So that worked just great. Okay, so let's see games then. So this should load a game pretty quickly, as fast as it's possible to load via the user port over the internet. So that's kind of cool. Okay, it loads immediately. Okay, I didn't connect the joystick, so I can't play, but yeah, I don't know. And see, if you reset and load again, it actually goes back to where you were. Apps, real-time clock, WiC 64 radio, all right. So that's a SID radio. Streaming SID music from the internet. I have never done that before on the C64. This is really cool. 41,000 SIDs online. That's really cool. Press space to yeah, to crash. So the software obviously needs some bug fixing, but it's cool anyway. The concept is really nice that they build this portal around this thing, and yeah, let's check real-time clocks. All right. So this is 1 hour off from Norwegian time. It's the 21:32 here right now. Cool. Okay, so if you press run stop restore, it goes back. Let's check the Berlin clock. All right. Can't figure out that. Binary clock. Yeah, I'm not gonna try and decode that binary clock. So there weren't many games here, that's a bummer, but that's probably gonna change. The next program I want to test is the Koala Loader, which is a program that downloads koala graphic images over the internet, and yeah, it actually loads 500 images as fast as possible. And this device is capable for loading around 50 kilobytes in 2.5 seconds, so that's pretty fast loading time for a Commodore 64. So let's test this. Press S to start. Well, that didn't work as well as I hoped. Let's try one more time. Alright, so now it works. Yeah. So the device says loading HTTP. Nice. So that's a lot of pictures, well-known games and different things. Okay, so that seems to work just fine. Some issues with stability here and there, but that's something you can expect of something like this that is under constant development. This device can, as I said, be used on WiC-20, and there is a WiC-20 version of the portal, loader portal that you saw, and otherwise you can do the same things, but of course then you might have to do some programming yourself. Programming the device is documented also in the PDF. If you want to make some programs yourself, you can of course do that. The next thing I want to test out is to load games directly from the internet from BASIC, and to do that you of course need to have a special kernel ROM in the machine, and on the download page you can find a kernel ROM for the C64 that has a simple modification that makes it possible to load games or programs directly from BASIC. To do that, I'm going to use my home-built C64, which you see here, because it already has ROM adapters inserted. That makes it easy to use regular EEPROMs to burn your own EEPROMs and use on the Commodore 64. So in the list of downloads here you can find it, wic64 C64 kernel, so I'm just downloading that. I have inserted the regular WinBond 27C512, which is a 64K chip, but I'm gonna burn this EEPROM to that anyway, because it doesn't matter if this chip is a little bit larger. The kernel ROM is only 8K. Alright, so I've selected the bin file here, and you can program it directly without converting it, so I'm just gonna do that now. Program. So now this chip replaces this one. Let's see now if this works. I haven't connected the keyboard yet. By the way, if you want to see how I made this C64, then you should check out my series of videos where I show you in 5 episodes how I built the whole thing, and yeah, that might be interesting to watch. It's yeah, it's from last year or a couple of years ago. I'm not really sure now. Time flies. So let's just test and see if this boots up then. Yes, it did. Currently I'm using this for testing, so I didn't have a proper keyboard that worked. So I'm just gonna use this one. And the reason I couldn't use my C64C as I have been used in the beginning of this video is because it has another type of EEPROM for combined ROMs. So we're in, and hopefully this keyboard works. I need to type a load command. So the thing is now that you can type a load command with the HTTP address for a game that you want to download, or any program. However, I searched around the net and I couldn't find anyone that didn't have it either as some sort of obscure URL, or it was a zip file that needs to be uncompressed. But on simmers.net there are some games that are just there as PRG files, so I'm trying to load something from there. Flappy Bird. So that should now load via the internet. So did I type all that correctly? So yeah, seems alright. So let's check if that works. Okay. Loading, file not found, error. Let me try once more. Nope. So I checked the URL, and it actually seems that that site is case sensitive, so everything must be written in lowercase, at least the directory structure, and in fact when I see it now, it is actually a FTP site, so that's why it is case sensitive. But yeah, let's replace the characters after the simmers.net to lowercase. And the last part of the file name should have some capital letters. Okay, so I think this is now correct. Let's see now. Yeah, ready. Ready. That actually worked, and it loaded very quickly. I have to try another one. Daedalus. I think I wrote everything correctly. So this should be a 39 kilobyte file that we load into the memory of the C64. Let's time it now. How much was that? 4 seconds or something? Still have to do some crunching. Yeah, let's play some. Oops. Oh, this is a hard game. Okay. So I need to find a 3D model for a case and print it out, and I found it actually. It is in the download area of WiC64. So this looks nice and well designed, so I'm gonna print this now. So here's the finished model, and it looks nice in white. So it seems to be just to snap it in place. No needs for screws. Let's see if it fits. Yeah, that fits pretty nicely. Very nice fit. The buttons comes out, and yeah, these two. Alright, I think that was it for this video and the demonstration of the WiC64. A really nice device. I really liked it, although it had some issues and a few bugs here and there. If this gets improved and we get some larger support with the game portals and things like that, it would be great. The possibilities are actually limitless for the most part. I didn't show you, but of course you can set up a HTTP server on your own machine at your home and have all your C64 games there, and yeah, that would make it a lot easier to load any game at any time, so that would be great, I think. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something, and special thanks goes out to my patrons. See you. Bye bye.